Active Reader and Other Cautionary Tales from the Book World. Written by Mark Leslie. Read by Eric Brian Moore. Dedication. For Francine and Alexander, my two favorite active readers. Active Reader. Do you have an active reader card? Douglas smiled across the counter at the pretty young woman as she plopped a pile of paperbacks onto the cash desk. Her brow creased as she looked at him a moment. Then she spied the plastic blue card hanging around his neck on a thin chain. On the card were the words Active Reader and the Noble Books logo of a lion sitting atop a stack of books, and recognition filled her eyes. Oh, the discount card, of course. I always carry it with me. She dug into her wallet and produced the blue Noble Books Active Reader card. Douglas took her card, swiped it through the machine, and then scanned in her books. As he lifted each paperback over the scanner, he glanced quickly at the title and author. She has good taste in dark literature, he thought, recognizing some of the titles by Clegg, Campbell, Little, and Clark. Oh, Douglas said. The Darkest Part of the Woods. That's a good one. I just finished reading it myself. She smiled at him. I love all of Campbell's writing, both the novels and the short fiction. UK's finest horror author. She nodded enthusiastically. He pointed at the next book in her pile. So, have you read other books by this author? Carol Weeks? Oh, yes. I've read a couple of hers. She's becoming one of my favorites. He grinned proudly. Her writing is a real gift to the horror genre. The girl nodded, her blonde curly hair bouncing as he continued to scan the books in. Between books, he kept glancing back up at her, noticing the soft blue of her eyes with the subtle green tint. Not only was she very attractive with sparkling, brilliant eyes, but she was also a lover of books and of horror. That old, familiar nervous tingling flitted about his stomach, and he found himself tongue-tied, unsure of what to say next. Attractive women didn't do that to him, but an attractive woman with sparkling eyes who loved to read horror sent him into a tailspin. At the end of the transaction, he announced the total. She paid it, and he handed her the books in a Noble Books bag and wished her a fond farewell. As she said goodbye and walked away from the cash desk, Douglas keyed in the code that would reprint the last receipt, and then slid the next cashier sign onto the desk in front of his register. Carrie, Douglas said to the pimply-faced teen working two registers to his left. I'll be in my office if anyone needs me. With that said, he tore off the duplicated receipt and walked away against the background of the Friday night bustling crowd of avid readers, browsers, and coffeehouse regulars. Closing the door to leave the sounds of the crowd behind him, he glanced down at the receipt. The top of it read, Active Reader Member, 5552-7958. Douglas fiddled with his Noble Books tie and sat down at the computer. He entered the general access password and then flipped around on the drop-down menu desktop environment until he highlighted the customer menu. He pressed the Enter key, then typed the management-level password which brought him to the customer database. He typed OLD in the command line, and a small window opened, allowing him to enter an 8-digit Noble Books active reader number. He entered 5552-7958. After a moment, a name, address, and phone number appeared on the screen. Kim Meadows, Douglas said, reading the customer's name aloud. Then his eyes scanned down to the part of the screen which showed in detail all of this particular customer's purchases, the titles, the quantity, the time of day, and how she paid for each purchase. Of course, the database didn't yet include the book she had just purchased. That information was only updated once per day on a national level, once the store closed and the computer uploaded that information to the main database at the Noble Books support office. He scrolled down the huge listing of books she had purchased at both this location of Noble Books and the various locations in other parts of the state, mumbling to himself. You're quite the active reader, Miss Meadows. There was a long listing of horror titles.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?